Hello, long time no see. What's up? My name's Stephen Finley. It's your first time to the channel. I don't put out very much stuff, apparently. Yeah, on this channel I talk about duck hunting and things like that. To those of you that have subscribed, thank you. I owe you a massive apology because I haven't done a very good job putting stuff out. Now, with that said, I do make videos full-time, not like YouTube. Like I'm a videographer. That's what I do. So I've been really busy with work stuff. I've got some cool things that I've shot I'm hoping to share with you guys in the future. But in this video, the long-awaited one, I'm going to be talking about camera stuff, namely camera stuff that I use or that you can use if you want to take pictures or take videos of ducks. So got a little notebook here. So you see me looking down. I'm looking at my notes because that's what I do. So anyway, all right. So let's just go ahead and jump in. And I'm gonna probably have several cuts in this video because I'm gonna be moving, grabbing some stuff, that kind of deal. All right, so the first thing, I got 5 things for you. The first thing is you need to figure out if you're wanting to do photos or video or both. Now, disclaimer, this video is not necessarily to help you take better stuff for Instagram. If that's what you wanna do, you can use what I'm gonna talk about here, and it will, for lack of a better term, it will help you level up your Instagram content. But this video is more for people who want to go out and either take photos because they really love photos, maybe they want to print some, maybe they just get into photography and you're like me and you're a duck hunter and that's just what you want to do, or if you want to shoot videos of like to remember things you can watch back when you're older, or if you do what I do and you just want to kind of get more into doing the media side of hunting as far as like content development, things like that for brands, which is what I do. But when it comes to duck hunting, it's my favorite thing, so I'm doing it for me. The stuff I shoot for brands here and there, but most of the time I'm trying to kill something with feathers. And I'm normally doing it with some buddies. That time is very precious to me, for lack of a better term. If I'm gonna be away from my family, if my wife and children can't go, and I'm going with some friends, like I just wanna remember that. Which, if you guys have seen this channel at any amount of time, you've heard me talk about that. So this may or may not be a 1 or 2-parter video. So the first thing you need to figure out is, do you wanna do photos or videos or both? And the reason I say that is because it's actually pretty difficult to do both. For example, for my client work, I most of the time do video. Video is what I enjoy, that's what I like doing, but sometimes I have to do photos, and I'll tell them I can't really do both because for me it's like a mindset thing. If I'm looking for photos, I'm trying to get, my brain is looking for shots for photos. If I'm doing video, I'm kind of looking for moments and kind of elements that comprise the story. You're really doing a lot of that with photos anyway, or photos too. It's just for me it's different. Other people it may be different. But I also have a lot of really good photographer friends, and so if they're gonna take photos, I'm not gonna mess with them. So photos and video, we're gonna kind of talk about the cameras. Secondly, cameras. All right, so you've got a couple different kinds. You've got mirrorless cameras, you've got DSLR cameras, you've got camcorders, and you've got cinema cameras, okay? So the mirrorless and DSLR, here's a mirrorless camera. This is my Sony A7 III. I got this when I shot Sony stuff predominantly because it's a good photo and video camera. Now, the mirrorless bodies are really small. The reason they call them mirrorless is because they just have a sensor in them and they're not using a mirror like a DSLR. You can Google what DSLR stands for. Anyway, in my opinion, I should say all of this is my opinion, mirrorless are a little bit smaller, and because they're mirrorless, which is the photo taking mechanism, I feel like they do video a little bit better. Personally, they're just a little bit better suited for the hybrid shooter, somebody doing both. However, with that said, most of the really good photographers that I know or have been shooting around, a lot of them are using DSLR, which is going to be a camera that has a mirror in it, and when you snap it, it flips the mirror, shows the shutter, that kind of thing. I'm not really sure how it all works scientifically, but a lot of my favorite photographers whose work I look up to, they're shooting on mirrorless, or excuse me, they're shooting on DSLRs. Of course, as technology progresses, more and more mirrorless cameras are coming out, so they're using both. But like I said, a lot of my favorite photographers are shooting DSLRs. Let's get into camcorders, which I do not have one of. Here's one, so that you've seen it, and then a cinema camera. This is a little C100. It's a cinema camera made by Canon. Got a really cool form factor on it. It's got a 50 millimeter. I actually have a different cinema camera. I have two that I shoot on, but those are predominantly for video. Okay, so the camcorder is super compact. A lot of my buddies that hunt, like kind of film their own deer hunts and stuff, they use camcorders. Camcorders are awesome. They have the zoom where you can zoom in and out. That's really effective. Their autofocus is really good, and they're really handy, and they can record for a long time. Their batteries are good. They're small. Everything's good about them, but they do have a look to them. The cinema cameras also have a look to them, which is why a lot of people use them. With that said, a cinema camera it's made for what it sounds like it's made for, so it's video only. If you have a cinema camera that has a really high resolution, my Red for example, it can shoot in 8K, you can take still photos off of it, but it's, depending on the shoot, it's not really ideal. So anyway, those are the four type of cameras: mirrorless, DSLR, camcorder, and a cinema camera. And to wrap up, cinema cameras do have a certain look to them. They're much more, they're less run and gun friendly, but think of it like this: they kind of have a flavor to them, their look and feel, and what you can do with them in post, that lends itself to kind of being filmic, or you being able to manipulate the footage to look a certain way, whereas you're not really going to find that on a cinema camera. You're not really going to find that on like a camcorder. Think of it like a camcorder. You can't really manipulate the footage to look a certain way. You can, but most people don't. Most people shoot on a cinema camera because you can kind of stylize the footage a little bit more, if that makes sense. Number 3, autofocus. So, and let me back up. I'm going through these as in like things you need to keep in mind. So number 1, you need to kind of figure out, do you want to do photos? Do you want to do video? Number 2, the type of cameras that you would want to look for. And then 3, kind of some things to keep in mind. So namely for filming ducks or taking photos of ducks, you want to have a camera with really good autofocus if you plan to take photos, or you want to get really good at doing your manual focus, at shooting manual focus. And I will also say that looks different if you're hunting ducks in fields or if you're hunting ducks around trees. And what I mean by that is, as a video person predominantly, I shoot almost everything manual. And the reason I shoot everything manual is because I just can't rely on autofocus to get good shots. Sometimes it'll move, and if I'm getting a shot, say I'm filming somebody walking in a tree and like a limb is in front, the autofocus is going to adjust to that and totally ruin my shot. So it's a good habit if you're going to be if you want to shoot video, to practice shooting in manual. Autofocus is going to dominate for photos, as long as there's not trees in the way. If you're taking pictures of ducks in fields, autofocus is critical. If you're going to shoot video, it's not as important, okay? That's ultimately what I'm getting at. But it would help if you're going to buy a camera, get one that has pretty good autofocus. Secondly, audio. For photos, you don't really need audio. For video, you definitely need audio. So let me just show you some microphones that I would use in the field, or that I use for different types of situations. All right, microphones. By the way, I feel like I'm babbling a lot in this video, but I'm trying to go in depth for you guys because, like I've said before, when I got started, I would have loved to have had a video like this kind of showing this stuff. I had to watch so much Peter McKinnon to figure some of this stuff out. Okay, so microphones. You got shotgun mics, and this is just a Rode mic that I would put, like a Rode shotgun mic that I would put on top of this camera. It's directional, so whatever you're aiming it at, it's going to pick up pretty good. I've actually seen vloggers turn theirs around and they're filming stuff while they're talking to the microphone. This is typically what I'm going to put on my camera if I'm going hunting with my buddies or whatever. I'm going to film some ducks going by, and you know, if I aim it at my buddy and we're talking, you know, he's going to pick them up. Okay, so shotgun mic. I'll put links to these in the description. They are affiliate links, so if you do purchase anything, you're helping your friend, which I appreciate. Another one is there's two of these. The pack that goes on is called a lav mic or lapel mic, which kind of clips on. This would go on top of the camera, have a little cord, a little wire that runs out, runs into the camera, and then the pack would clip on somebody's belt, and then they have the little mic that they run on. These are really good for, it's wireless, right? Also made by Rode, link in the description. These are really good. They run off a signal, so they're wireless. So let's say I'm filming with a friend of mine, and I'm over here filming, and they're on a tree over there, and so I'm aiming it at them while I'm watching them, but if they say anything that I can't hear, the microphone's going to pick it up. So the way I would do that is I would be filming them with the wireless mic. I would have headphones, so whatever they say, if they say, look at those ducks up there, I hear them through my headphones, through the wireless mic, and then I know where to aim, where they're looking. Okay, so these are really good, but the thing about these is they're only recording when the camera is recording, because it's recording the audio to the camera. The downside to that sometimes is you miss what people are saying sometimes. If you're not recording, you don't get good audio, you don't get sound. So I actually use one of these from time to time, which is called a Tascam recorder. It records, you turn it on, you hit record, it has super long battery life, but it records to these little micro SD cards. I don't know if you can see that with the autofocus. No. Oh, there it goes. I have a monitor here, that's what I'm keep looking at. It records to these. Now, the cool thing about these is it's going to record whether you're rolling with the camera or not. Sometimes when the camera isn't rolling, people say things and you get good stuff, you know what I mean. Like, if you've done any of that for any amount of time, you know that a lot of people say a lot of cool things when the camera's not on them, or some funny things or whatever. So, for video, here's a pro tip. For video, viewers can handle things being out of focus, not a big deal. Well, what people cannot handle is crappy audio. So, if you have a camera that's not that good, at least get good audio. That's what I would say. If you're going to do any sort of video, get good audio. Get good at audio. I'm not that good, but I do have good stuff. So I kind of balance my inability out, I guess. All right. So next, lenses. This is a 24-70 that's on here. So it's got like a little bit of zoom. 24 or 35 millimeter is going to be, I think I'm shooting on 35 right now, is going to be, some people like 35, some people like 24. It's going to be kind of your good, what we call wide angle, so you'll be able to see kind of what we call establishing shots. So you'll be able to be able to show enough of what's going on that anybody that's watching kind of understand where you're at, they'll understand the scenario. If you're in a duck blind, you'd want like a 24 or 35 so you can see enough. If you're hunting in the woods, let's say, your buddy's at a tree, you may be able to get away with like a 50 millimeter or something like that. Now, for video, it's always, in my opinion, it's always good to go kind of wide, because you can see You can always crop in, especially if you're shooting 4K, if you need to, but it always seems to be, every time I've shot something and I go back and I watch my wide footage, I would rather have more wide footage than tight detail stuff. Okay, me personally. Long lenses or longer lenses, telephoto lenses, let me get this one. This one, this is a 70 to 200. It zooms a little bit. If I had to have one lens for the rest of my life, it would be this one. Because it's long enough that it gets, it has enough distance on it that you can take some good photos with ducks, but it also has a short enough distance that you can get a little bit, more encompassing of what's happening in the hunting situation or whatever. If I had one lens, like I said, it would be this. If I'm only taking two lenses on a hunting trip, it's this one, and it's like a 24 to 70, or the one I'm shooting on, which is a 15 to 35 Canon lens. So, if you're taking photos, you're probably going to want a much longer lens, especially for ducks. Now, if you're just going while you're hunting, that's one thing. But if you want to get some images where you're like maybe going out into a blind in an afternoon or something, and you're only taking photos and you want good close-ups, you probably want something like up to like a 600 if possible. And you can spend as much money as you want on lenses because they can get really expensive. So anyway, you're going to want a longer lens, a zoom lens, or a long prime, which is, prime just means it doesn't zoom, it's fixed. Like a 50 millimeter, it's 50. You have to, what they call zoom with your feet. You got to scoot closer or back up depending on how your distance. Anyway, all right, so lenses, that's kind of the deal with that. Also, if you're filming with one of these long lenses, you're going to want a tripod, because if it's really far out, that little bit of shake is going to be heavily emphasized in your footage. So if you're, if I'm filming at 200, right, I'm not holding my camera out here because it's going to be shaking. I'm holding it as tight as I can, and I'm going to be moving it a little bit just to give a little natural move, or I'm going to have it on a tripod, or I'm going to be shooting in slow motion to kind of take some of that out. Okay, so that's lenses. And by the way, if you guys have any questions, fire away in the comments, whatever. I know I'm going through a lot here, and I feel like I'm a little bit all over the place, but I'm trying to be helpful. Number 4 is practice. When you first get started, you're gonna take a lot of crap. You're gonna shoot a lot of crap. It's part of the process. You're gonna get some stuff that you think's awesome, and then a year later, you're gonna go back and be like, man, that was not awesome. Just remember, it was part of the process. It's like when little kids color, and you put it on your refrigerator, and they think it's amazing. And then, like, if you've ever done that and you go back and look at what you drew when you were 5, that you remember thinking, man, that was awesome, you can see that it's not awesome. There's some of that. There's some of that involved in photos or video, that kind of stuff. So, practice. Try to make time for yourself to go and practice. There's endless videos you can watch on YouTube about practicing, about going out and taking photos with just one type of lens. Kind of challenge yourself to be creative. Shoot from different angles, things like that. But also maybe go out and try to think of like a little short story. For example, this is kind of what I mean. Say you and your dog go somewhere, and your dog did this retrieve or something. You've got this moment that you and your dog shared. Try to recreate that and tell what happened in an interesting way. Again, and this is probably more so if you're trying to do a little bit more of what I do, was shoot with brands and tell narratives and do things like that. Like you want to kind of use video as sort of an art form. That would be what I'd practice, trying to tell a little short story, or not just, show what we did on the hunt where me and my buddies got in the mud and, we got stuck, and, which is all part of it, but, we shot some ducks, we got stuck. Again, this isn't really to help you beef up your Instagram game. This is more of like trying to use this as more of an art form or something that you can, you know, have for later down the road when you're old. And then the fifth thing is, what's your why? Why are you doing this? For me, as I said before, it's really important to me to document stuff for a couple reasons. One, I'm practicing and this is what I do. Two, I want to be able to watch this stuff back when I get old. You know, I don't think social media, I think social media will be around forever now that it exists. But when we go back and look at pictures of grandparents or aunts and uncles or whatever, like, or just complete strangers, we go back and look at these black and white photos. Like, think about it. Thank God there was a photographer there who took that picture, because if they didn't, we wouldn't have that kind of stuff. We wouldn't sort of have the history. We still have to do that today. You know, you don't want all of your memories of hunting to live on Facebook. Like, what happens if you get rid of your Facebook? There it all goes. So, anyway, what's your why? Why do you want to go out and shoot these photos? Why do you want to go out and tell stories with video, or, you know, film your dog's retrieves? You never know when it's going to be their last one. So, anyway, I feel like I'm rambling, but that's kind of my why. Like, I want to document the stuff. My oldest daughter is 5. I got to take her the first time hunting when she was 3, which I know sounds really old, but she was born in February, so she's like almost 4. And we had hearing protection on, and man, there wasn't a whole lot of ducks that got shot. It was a day where, I mean, there was a lot of ducks, but it was about the kids. It wasn't that cold. With my friend Kaysen at Byers Farm, and his boys too. So it was about the kids, and I remember taking pictures and filming that and all that stuff. And I look back on it and I think, yeah, that was my daughter and one of his sons' first hunts. That was really special. So I'm glad that I took a camera. I'm glad that I took photos. I'm glad that I filmed it, because now I get to remember. What are you doing?
Chilling.
Chilling?
Uh-huh.
It's the only photo.
I heard that. So that's my why. I encourage you to find yours, because if you don't have a why, you won't continue doing this. Do you remember when everybody used to buy GoPros and they'd just get shots of stuff and then they don't really ever use them or do anything with the footage anymore? If you don't have a why, you're going to spend your money on this stuff and end up selling it or giving it to somebody because you don't use it. So anyway, yeah, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, please fire away. I just moved into a new office and it's in absolute disarray right now. But while I had some time, I wanted to try to make this video for you guys, because several of you have asked about cameras, lenses, video stuff, and that's all exciting to me. Kind of sharing a little bit of my world with you. So that's what I wanted to do. So, anyway, if you like this video, if it's helpful, be sure to give it the thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe. If you want to further support the channel, you can pick up one of my Philo Patry shirts. And yeah, I think that's it for now. So I will catch you guys in the next one. And I hope to put out a little bit more footage, a few more videos for you in the future. So anyway, we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.